We have seen the content of wheat. Next, we shall see about the rice. Rice is the staple food of many of the communities. Particularly, rice is consumed to a large extent in southern part of India. Rice is a staple diet of more than half of the world's population, and it is principally consumed to a greater extent in the Asian countries. This is the image of the rice crop grown in the field. You can see the structure of the rice. We have already studied about the structure of the cereal grains. So if the structure of the cereal grain is rice is asked, you can draw this diagram and you can give the content that I have explained earlier, like the pericarp, the endosperm, the aileron layer, the scutellum, germ. So the same explanation will come here also. So in the wheat grain also, you can see the pericarp, the seed coat, the aileron layer, and you can see the starchy endosperm. So we have the endosperm, the embryo, and we have the hull. Hull is nothing but the outer portion, the pericarp. The outer portion is called as the hull in the rice grain. So the hull or the husk, it is the protective outer coat. The bran is present below the hull or the husk, and it contains fiber and minerals. And we have the endosperm. This is the endosperm, the innermost portion. This is mostly made of starch, and there is an embryo. This is the embryo or the germ. It contains the vitamins, minerals, and the oils. Composition of rice is influenced by genetic and environmental factor. So the amount of minerals or the vitamins or the other compounds, nutrients present in the cereal grain depends upon the variety, depends upon the species of the rice, and also it depends upon the environment, that is the geographical location in which the rice is cultivated or grown. The germ, pericarp, and the aileron layer are rich in nutrients when compared with the endosperm. The aileron, germ, and the pericarp contains protein, minerals, and vitamins, and they are separated from the grain during the milling along with the husk. So, the wheat grain also has an outer coat. The rice also has an outer coat. So the outer coat is golden yellow in color. While we mill the rice, during the milling process, the outer portion of the rice, that is the husk, is removed. And along with the husk, what happens? The pericarp, the aileron layer are also removed. So the pericarp, aileron layer, and the germ are removed during the milling process. But unfortunately, they contain nutrients like the protein, minerals, and vitamins, which will also be removed during the milling process along with the husk. Husk na the outer portion of the rice is called as the husk, which is removed as tavidu. The major carbohydrate of rice is starch, which is 72 to 75%. So major nutrient that is present in rice is the starch. The amylase content of starch varies according to the grain type. So the starch contains amylose and the amylopectin, and the amount of amylase is nothing but the enzyme. The amylase content of rice of the starch, it varies according to the type of the rice grain. Rice also contains certain sugars that are monosaccharides. Starch is a polysaccharide, a complex compound. It also contains free sugars, monosaccharides such as glucose, sucrose, dextrin, fructose, and raffinose. Raffinose again is a monosaccharide. The fiber of the rice is the hemicellulose, made up of pentoses, arabinose, and xylose. The fiber portion of the rice is hemicellulose. Protein is also present in rice. The protein content of rice is 7%. Majority is the starch. But however, 7% of protein is present in rice. Glutenin, which is known as oryzanin, is the principal protein of rice. So when I ask you the botanical name of rice, you would say that it is Oryza sativa, and the protein present in the rice is called as oryzanin. Rice also contains small quantities of other protein such as albumin, globulin and prolamine. These are the other proteins present in the rice. The nutritive value of the rice protein is superior to that of wheat and other cereal protein. So all of us might think that wheat is superior than rice. Wheat is good when compared to rice. But when we see the protein quality, that is protein taram, when we see the protein quality, the quality of protein in the rice grain is better than that of the wheat. Rice is rich in amino acids. What are amino acids? Amino acids are the building blocks of the protein. When we take a particular protein, that protein will be composed of several units of amino acids. The rice is rich in the amino acid arginine, but it is deficient in the amino acids lysine and threonine. So they are deficient. Deficient na illa. So the amino acids lysine and threonine are absent or very less in the rice. The biological value of rice protein is 80. What is biological value? Biological value is a measure that is used to assess the protein quality, and when the protein quality of rice is assessed, it is 80. Out of 100 it gets 80 marks. Therefore the biological value of protein is good in the rice, whereas in the wheat protein it is only 66, and in maize cholam it is only 50. The biological value of protein, I told you, is superior when compared to the other grains. In rice, it is 80. In wheat, it is 66. And in maize, it is only 50. Various minerals are also present in the rice grain. And most of the minerals are located in the pericarp and the germ. So this is very unfortunate. They are present in the outer layers of the rice. Polished rice is a poor source of calcium and iron. So what do we do? During the milling of rice, the outer portion is removed. So the pericarp and the germ is lost. And after that, what do? We polish the rice. So inside the pericarp, we have a brown colored layer. We don't eat the rice that is brown colored. We also polish that. So that is also removed, and therefore it becomes a poor source of calcium and iron. Colored types of rice, that is the brown rice and the red rice, they contain more iron when compared with the white rice. 4% of phosphorus is present in the form of phytic acid. Calcium is present in rice. Iron is also present. A small amount is present. And it has 4% phosphorus. Rice also contains some trace minerals. Rice contains various enzymes as well. Rice contains amylases, proteases, lipases, oxidases, peroxidases, and phenolases. These are the various enzymes present in the rice. The activity of alpha amylase in fresh rice is probably responsible for its sticky consistency after cooking. So, when we cook the rice after harvest, we are so during the month of January, February, we will get the new rice, pudu arisi. So, when we cook the new rice, what happens? The new rice easily converts into a gelatinous mass, right? So, சீக்கிரமா குழஞ்சு போயிடும். புது அரிசி புது நெல்லுல இருந்து புது அரிசி கிடைக்கும். அந்த புது அரிசி குக் பண்ணும்போது it will easily become gelatinous, sticky, it becomes sticky consistency. And this enzymes, that is the alpha amylase present in the fresh rice, they get inactivated during storage and the cooked grains get separated easily. So this is the difference between the new rice and the old rice. The new rice becomes gelatinous. குழஞ்சு போயிடும், சீக்கிரம் குழஞ்சு போயிடும். But when the same rice is stored for 1 month or 2 months and then cooked, then it does not become gelatinous. There the rice will cook into a grainy consistency. So why does this change occur? This change occurs because the enzyme alpha amylase that is responsible for converting the rice into a gelatinous mass is inactivated. It is naturally inactivated during the process of storage. So alpha amylase will be less when the rice is stored for a longer period of time, and therefore when we cook the old rice will not become gelatinous and we will get them in the form of grains. Udri udriya rice kadaikum. Pigments are also present in the rice. The colored pigments, that is, when we remove the husk, in the inner portion we have a red color layer and that contains anthocyanins and carotenoids. Milling of rice. Rice along with the husk is called as the paddy, nellu. The husk constitutes about 20% of weight of the paddy. Brown rice that is obtained by removing the husk. வெளியில உள்ள அந்த மஞ்சள் கலர் போர்ஷன் ரிமூவ் பண்ணாக்கா அதுக்குள்ள we will have the rice. அந்த ரைஸ் வந்து brown கலர்ல இருக்கும். This consists of the pericarp, aileron layer, embryo, scutellum and endosperm. So we have only removed the outer portion, which is the husk, and the other portions are all intact in the rice. During the milling process, the embryo, scutellum, pericarp and the aileron layer are removed. So all these layers are removed during the milling process. Milling na enna? நெல்லை அரைக்கிறது. நெல்லை அரைச்சு நெல்லுல இருந்து we will get the அரிசி. So that process is called as the milling. And during this milling process, embryo, scutellum, pericarp and the aileron layer are all removed and we get the white rice. Paddy on milling yields 20% of hulls, that is the outer portion, and then the bran 8%. So below the hull we have the bran and that is about 8%, and we then polish it, and during this polishing 2% is removed and the yield of rice will be only 70%. So 30% is removed as hulls, bran and polishing, and we will get only 70% of the white rice. What are the steps involved in the milling of rice? The first step in the milling of rice, milling na enna? அரைக்கிறது. நெல்லுல இருந்து அரிசி எடுக்கிற ப்ராசஸ் தான் இஸ் கால்ட் அஸ் மில்லிங். ஸோ அது வந்து மெஷின்ல கொடுத்து நெல்லுல இருந்து அரிசி நமக்கு கிடைக்கும். ஸோ we will see what are the steps involved in milling. The first step is cleaning and grading. The paddy, after it is harvested, when it is coming from the field, it will contain plenty of contaminants like stones, clay particles, straw, dirt. So இதெல்லாம் நமக்கு தேவையில்லை. So these are the things that has to be removed, cleaned. They have to be separated. So all these waste materials like stone, clay, straw, all these have to be separated, and the separation is done using a paddy cleaner. The next step in the milling process is the dehusking. Dehusking means removing of the husk. Removing of the husk. What is the husk? Husk is the outer portion, that yellow color portion of the paddy is called as the husk. And dehusking can also be called as shelling. Shelling is carried out by two methods or two different types of shellers can be used for removing the husk of the paddy. They are the disc type sheller and the roller type sheller. So as the name indicates, in one of the sheller we have the discs and the another we have the rollers. Rice is passed through two stone or rubber discs. So you would have seen the discs. Discs are nothing but a circular object. So there will be two discs. So one disc will be like this and another disc will be like this. So two discs will be there, and uh, the discs will rotate at different speeds, and by shearing action on the grain, the hull is pulled away. For example, if this is one disc and we have another disc here, they too are capable of rotating. So while they rotate and the grains are in between these two, what will happen? The hulls will be removed. If you have seen yandram in the at your home, maybe in your grandma's place, there will be two stones, right? And she will move the upper stone, and there will be a hole in the center. Through the hole you can add the grains, and when you move the upper stone, what happens? The skin that is present will be removed. So this is something like that. So the machine is designed in this way. You can have two discs. There may be two discs in the sheller, which is the first type, and in the second type there are two rollers that are capable of rolling. And when the grains are passed between these two discs or between these two rollers, because of the pressure, because of the shearing action, the outer portion of the hull is removed. So here you can see the sheller. You can see the revolving rollers. Here you can see the revolving rollers. So the grain, you will add the grain will come here, and when the grain comes here, this roller will rotate and this roller also will rotate, and when it comes in between here, because of the force applied by these two rollers, the outer portion or the husk will be removed. So it will come here, and you can see that the rice is removed separately and the husk is removed separately. The next step is polishing. Now the outer portion or the husk has been removed. The rice will be in brown color now, and all of us eat only the white rice. We don't eat the red rice or the brown rice. So what is required? The brown rice that is obtained by the shelling is subjected to polishing. But we should understand the nutritive value of brown rice is better than the white rice. Brown rice has more nutrients when compared with the white rice. But however, all of us are accustomed to eat only the white rice, and therefore the brown rice that is obtained after the shelling or dehusking is the brown rice, and the brown rice is now polished. So there are two types of equipments that are used for polishing. They are the cone type polisher and the horizontal type polisher. As a result of milling, the coarse outer bran and the germ are removed. So during the milling process, the outer bran as well as the germ is removed. That is, during polishing, bran is also removed and germ portion of the grain is also removed. This is the cone type polisher that is used to polish the brown rice. And this is a mini rice milling machine. So we don't do all these processes separately. That is, dehusking is not done separately, and then the polishing is not done separately. They are done in an integrated machine, and both these action, that is dehusking as well as polishing, is done in a single machine. And this is a mini rice milling machine, which can also be used in small scale, and it can also be used at household level. When you have to do the milling process in large scale, in tons, then you need a modern rice mill. And this is the layout of the modern rice mills.